Welcome to Esoteric Thoughts. Today we have Daniel and we have Prince. Daniel, I'm actually going to let them introduce themselves. Today we're going to actually be discussing the biblical context, the biblical concept of the chosen people. So Daniel, would you like to open up and quickly introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Daniel. Londoner, South Londoner, bit of a philosopher, personal trainer, psychologist, and I dabble in a bit of acting here and there as well. I'll leave it at that.
So you're a personal trainer, actor. What else did you say?
Bit of a psychologist.
Psychologist. Wow, that's good. That's good. My name is Ignatius Perez. I'm a prince. I'm an African prince.
African prince, okay.
But I was taken away in captivity, and I ended up being born in Jamaica, and now I'm living in London myself.
Okay.
And I'm ex-military as well. I had to go through a lot of physical psychology while being in the services.
So Prince, just give us a brief intro into your religious understanding.
Okay. I was just making a few notes that as Daniel was talking, because he touched a few important points in terms of psychology, because religion.
Hold on. We'll come to the psychology bit, but for now, let's get the intros out the way, and then we go into the discussion.
I was just gonna do that. I was
go for it.
I was gonna say psychology play an important role in religion, and where I'm coming from, a Christian background, but later down in my adult time, I realized that I'm not just a Christian, but I am actually a part of God's chosen race of people. So I start to look into things more, and I start to inquire more. So I'm still learning every day. So I'm willing to offer what I've learned already.
When you say God's chosen race, what do you mean by that? What is that? Let's say I'm not particularly religious, and you say to me, "Hey, Daniel, I am God's chosen. I am part of God's chosen race." What does that mean? How can you explain that for me?
So I look at I look at the first, how to put it. I look at my geographical location, and I look at the struggles, and when I read the Bible, I've been through everything that the Bible is telling me about. So I just put two and two together, and I realize that there's some people on the earth that are more spiritual and more lean towards love than some. So I find the Bible very telling. I don't know if that answers your question where I'm concerned.
We still didn't sort of explain why you would specifically feel that you are part of God's chosen. What? Because I understand that you're biblically influenced, and a lot of things have happened to you that you can relate to in the Bible. But I would love for you to explain to me how you came to the realization that you are part of the chosen people of God.
Okay.
God chose your people, and you are part of that people. How did you get to that conclusion?
Yeah. So one is how I've grown up. It's how I've grown up. I've always grown up around Christian-minded, God-fearing people. That's all I grew up around. And I come to the realization that there's a spirit. When I said spirit, I mean spirit. You connect with spirit. Like everything that happens to you, you always call towards God, you know, towards the God of the Bible. So my spirit leads me to the scriptures. So it was a natural, like it was a natural calling for me, you know.
I'm sorry to hold you to the fire, Ignatius. I just really, I get that you were called to the Bible and you've been around Christians and stuff. But when we go to the specific statement of you are part of God's chosen race, what I'm trying to get to is, one, what is that? What is God's chosen race? And two, how did you get to the conclusion that you were part of it? And removing the Christian influence that you have, I get that, but as I understand it, you know, so is it correct? Am I correct in saying that you are an original Israelite? Is that right? So
we go by faith more than anything else. It's more our tradition is more faith based. Like you trust in what you believe in to the point where if it says tomorrow the T is going to be crossed, you know it's going to be crossed.
So if we stick with the God's chosen race statement, then you say to yourself, God's chosen race, you are the original Israelites. And I'm not up on my Israelite doctrine, but I do remember something about, tell me if I'm wrong, if I do remember that the Israelites were supposedly descendants of Jacob. Is that correct? Right.
Yeah.
So you are an original descendant of Jacob. So here's what I'm trying to get to. You're saying that you are an original descendant of the biblical character Jacob.
Yes.
And you just said faith is what's got you there, but beyond faith, because I could say to you that I feel I am an original descendant of Kunta Kinte.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't have any proof for that, but I feel that I am. And you know, if we look at how you said about the Bible and being raised around Christian and how you naturally progressed onto this path, I could say to you, well, I read Roots. I read Alex Haley's Roots too. I connected with Alex Haley. I read his history. I looked into all the characters and the historicity of everybody within the book of Roots. And I say to myself, you know what? And also I've grown up around a lot of people who read the book Roots. So I grew up in a community of Roots reading people. And I say to you, well, I believe that I'm an original descendant of Kunta Kinte. Well, what would you say to that?
If you had said that to me, I would associate it to the same family of Israelites, because we are the only ones that go through the struggles that Kunta Kinte would have gone through. And in terms of biblical prophecies, and when you look at the biblical prophecies and the people that matches the prophecies, it's my people. So
yeah,
we have.
No, sorry, continue. Sorry, continue, please.
I'm saying most of the Israelites, they have similar backgrounds. Like we don't know our forefathers. We went through several different captivities to get to where we are today. So the Bible is more of a set of gazette records of writers, scribes that used to take notes while we were building for the future generation, there was also people writing down who was doing what, when, where, within our nation.
Mm.
So all these books now, they came together as a compilation of all of these notes that were being taken. Like someone live in France, they would be writing about what's going on in Israel. You'd have like Daniel, Ezekiel, and other prophets traveling in the world at the same time. When they write, you could put these things together and form a bigger picture. So when I read what's written in here, my spirit and my how to put it, my spirit confirms what is written inside about the people that are struggling today.
Okay. You said that I said to you that I could have connected with Kunta Kinte, and there's no evidence for that, but I just feel that I do. What did you say? You said that Kunta Kinte we're all Israelites.
Kunta Kinte would have been referred to as an Israelite based on the movie and based on what was happening in the movie.
You know,
these are the things. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Kunta Kinte did not identify as anything but African Muslim. You know that he when he was captured, and I think I was saying this to somebody else the other day, that when he was captured, they did everything. The only reason why we know Kunta Kinte's name isn't because he conformed to Christianity, isn't because he identified as anything to do with Israel or Israelites or anything like that. He said, quote, "My name is Kunta Kinte. I am a fighting man from the land of Jufure. My mother is Binta Kinte and my father is Omoro Kinte. I am a Muslim." And they tried very hard to foist Christianity onto him and every aspect of Christianity. They gave him a name. He said, "No, I won't take it. I'm not interested." They gave him, they forced him. They tried to force him. They whipped him. They turned his flesh into mush, scars. I think they chopped off his ear. Then they chopped off his foot. He ran away so many times, and they still couldn't break this guy. And the story endured. And the reason why the story endured is because he refused to take on the mantle, that the biblical mantle, the big biblical ideologies that were tried to be foisted onto him. So I find it interesting when you say he's an Israelite, because he never identified as anything other than a Muslim fighting man from Jufure. And the only reason why we know his name is because he outright refused to be part of that ideology. So when you say he's an Israelite, I'm like, not really, because he never identified as that at all.
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
So Kunta Kinte was taken on a slave ship, right?
Yeah.
Where was he taken to?
Spotsylvania County in Philadelphia, I believe.
In America?
Yeah.
Okay. So the only set of people that happened to that crossed the Atlantic Ocean in a sea vessel would be the Israelites. So Africans, there was Israelites living in Africa as well, and in Judah, in the Gold Coast. So in Africa now, you have Ghanaians and you have Ashanti. So Ghanaian.
Well, we've got to look at what part of Africa. There's West Africa, because
no problem. Well, we're talking about when we left Israel, we went into West Africa, which is the Gold Coast. So we had empires there that we were not Africans, but we had empires in Africa.
So what you're saying, okay, so let me just be clear, because I think I've heard something like this before. Would I be correct in saying to you that you, as well as being one of the original Israelites, is it correct for me to say that, because I've heard a saying similar to this, which is black people were the first Christians. Do you subscribe to that as well?
We're the only Christians.
But do you subscribe to that we were the original Christians?
We are the only Christians.
So that means you subscribe to we were before Christianity was ours before everything else, and it still is.
Not Christianity. You have to know what word you're using, because I think psychologically you're trying to twist me off.
No, I'm not. No. Forgive me if you.
Christian. When you said Christian,
yes,
I was going along with you. I was saying, yeah, we're the original Christian. But then you said Christianity.
And what is the difference between Christians and Christianity?
Well, Christians are the people that follow Christ. Christianity is the religious part to being Christians. So Christians are true followers. Christianity is the religion. So
Christianity, but are they not synonymous? Are they not the same thing? If the religion is Christianity and I follow the religion, am I not a Christian?
It depends on if you see yourself as the original.
But that's circles back to the question that I asked you. Do you consider
let me explain to you. So
yeah,
Christians are, when you said the original was black, I agree. They're Christian. Right. But Christianity now opens an umbrella for everyone to come into it.
So there is a difference between Christians and then there's a difference between so let me get this straight. There's a difference between Christians, Christianity, and the original Christians. Is that what you're saying?
No. So the original Christians, right?
Yeah.
There will always be Christians, because before Christ, they were not known as Christians. Before Christ, they were known as Israelites.
Right.
So Christianity came after.
So say that again. Sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
Christianity came after Christ.
Christianity came after Christ. So before Christ, it wasn't Christian. It was
Israelites, Edomites, whatever tribe you're from. You would be classed as Hamite.
Hamite. So I'm guessing this goes back to all the sort of Canaanites and Ammonites and all, right?
So no, it's that time it was ites. So before everyone was ites, Canaanites, Edomites, Israelites. But now when it comes to Christians, then you also have Muslims. So that time frame changed.
So Muslims are Christians also? Depends.
A Muslim can work off an umbrella system as Christianity.
So Christianity is an
Arabs are not Muslims. Arabs are the natural branch.
Okay. There seems to be a lot of, kind of, that means this, that doesn't mean that.
We're getting there. We are getting there. Don't worry.
We're getting there. Here's what I would like to ask. There's all these sort of different meanings, and that doesn't mean that, but that doesn't, What I'm interested in is when we circle back to God's chosen, and we look at the people and the different Christians versus Christianity versus the original Christians. I honestly can't keep up, but I think I understand what you're saying. It sounds to me as if though there is not one particular general consensus. This is why we have so many different sects and subsects of Christianity. You've got all these different. I think is it 1,000+ different sections of Christianity, and who's Christian and who isn't, and who is the original, who isn't the original, who was the first, who was the. And the reason why I asked this is because when we in the last 5 years, I've started hearing a lot of black people saying that we were the original Christian. I'm hearing things like the original Christians, the first Christians, the only Christians, the original Israelites. I'm hearing a lot of this kind of speak. And when I look at it from a psychological point of view, I say to myself, what is it that everybody is saying? And when I look at it psychologically, it seems to be the case that everyone wants to feel special. Everyone wants to feel, hear me out. Everyone wants to feel special. Everyone wants
no, you're right. No, you're right.
So follow me. Everybody wants to feel special.
There couldn't be any first Christians. You know why? Because I'll tell you why there couldn't be any first Christian. Because before Christ didn't came as a Christian, right? Christ came as Jesus Christus, right? So after his ascension, after he died, people started to follow him. We, the Israelites, we always followed God. But to incorporate everyone and people start repenting for this, say, oh, we are Christians. So being the original Christians doesn't mean that we were Christians. It means that we continue in our office as being Israelites. But the other nations now, they're following because they realize that there is a God, a true living God in Christ. So Christians and churches, before there were no churches, there were tabernacles and where people would go to worship. So when the churches start to build now, it's because of Christ. Because they say they're building the churches of Christ. So people start to say John the Baptist Church or Pentecostal Church or whatever. But all of these came after Christ, not before Christ.
Okay, so that's interesting, because what I would still ask the question to that is, everything that came after Christ, you said everything that came after Christ, that everything that came after Christ was basically from that point on Christian. So there was no Christianity before that.
No, Christianity is the act of being a Christian.
The act of being a Christian. So again, where I would like to ask is, beyond, because and you know this because you've read the Bible and your faith leads you there, right? Right. So how do you, beyond the Bible, and this and yours, and here's the thing, I've read the Bible. I've read the Bible twice, King James and NIV, and I always found it fascinating when there were so many different people saying so many different things about this book, and there's so many different interpretations and stuff. As I was saying before, in the last 5 years or so, a lot of Black people have started to say that we were the original such and such, the first such and such, the only such and such. I hadn't heard this
5 years ago.
I'm saying about 5 years ago. Before then, I never really heard Black people saying we were the original. I'd never heard.
You never heard Marcus Garvey?
No, I'd never heard we were the original Christians. I never heard that. I knew that Africans had our own spirituality, but
Africans are different from us. Remember, we're not Africans.
Okay, so this is where we're getting into it. So this is where I wanted to.
I need to share something. I need to share.
So So what then? If we are not Africans, and you're saying we are Israelites?
No, not we. I'm identifying myself as not being African. No, we need to know who you are.
Me, I'm African. I am.
Exactly.
So this is what I'm trying to say. You're saying that where my thought process was going before was saying that I had never heard, up until about 5 years ago, Africans and Black people generally saying we were the original or the first or the only Christians. I'd never heard that. I'd never heard that kind of speak before, up until about 5 years ago. You're saying Marcus Garvey said it. I don't remember anything. Maybe I wasn't paying attention or whatever, but I'd never really heard that, because when we look at the different religions. I'd heard that we were predominantly Muslim. When I say we, I mean Africans, Black people at the time where we were. People were saying that the majority of Africans, north, south, east, west, were Muslim. And it wasn't until, I mean, Christianity or people who followed Christ, you know, get into the semantics of it, was scattered. It was few and far between. And it wasn't until, and yes, there was Christians in Ethiopia, Somalia, North Africa, Sub-Saharan and South Africa, as well as West Africa. But they were few and far between. They were very scattered, very remote. And what we term as Christians, so like you said, there wasn't Christians until after Christ. But what we understand as Christians was few and far between around Africa and Africans.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Wait. Let me finish my thought. Please let me finish my thought. When we look at West Africa, it wasn't until the transatlantic slave trade that brought over the majority of Christianity, the Bible, that suddenly Christianity fundamentally proliferated. And again, it doesn't mean that there wasn't Christians. It just means that there wasn't in the great number that they were until slavery. Now, when you say, this is why I wanted to understand, because there's a fundamental, immutable fact that most people can't really deny. Christianity and slavery pretty much went hand in hand. And as much as people don't like to admit that, it's true. It was, I've pointed this out to a number of people before, and they've gone as far as to say that the Christians back then, the people who were supposedly Christians, weren't actually Christians. And I'm like, how do you know? How do you know that they weren't Christians? What, because they did something wrong or evil? In their minds at the time, they believed they were God's people. God had given them the right over the black man. So when we look at how Christianity, in the way we understand it, how it proliferated, there is a direct correlation with the proliferation of Christianity, specifically in West Africa, as a direct result of the transatlantic slave trade. It fundamentally exploded. So much so that if you look at a place like a place like Nigeria, I
think you're overlapping a lot of points there. And
I'm just saying, so let me just finish my point. Just for example, Nigeria, for example, is a country of 300 million people, and it's split down the middle, Muslim and Christian. And when we look at the evolution of the proliferation of this Christianity, the Bible, it directly correlated with the transatlantic slave trade. So I'm listening to you and you're saying to me, well, here's where we were before Christianity. There's a difference between Christianity and the original Christians. We were originally Israelites, and not me, but you're saying you were original Israel. And I'm saying to you, with all this said and done, when we look at the fact that the transatlantic slavery was the reason why Christianity proliferated, you grew up with the Bible and you get a lot of your sentiments from the Bible. To this, I say to you, had the transatlantic slave trade not happened, do you believe that you'd be where you are today, saying that you are an original Israelite?
Yes.
How?
All right. My history is a little bit different from how you look at the transatlantic slave trade. My history was that we were already here.
We were already where?
In this country, like the ones that were taken to the plantations. We were already living here. This is our country.
We were scattered around the world, yes, but we had never.
When you said we, you're putting me and you in the same
All
category.
right. So okay. So obviously we need to get into some definitions. So when I say we, I'm talking about Black people as a whole, and
I don't see myself as Black.
So you don't see yourself as black. You see yourself as Israelite, and that Israelite is
Nationality.
an original Israelite
Nationality.
from nationally from the teachings and the rhetoric of the Bible. What I'm saying to you is,
That's your opinion. That's your way of putting it. I wouldn't put it that way.
but you said that you grew up Christian and the Bible, and then the Bible ultimately led you to.
Rhetoric mean? What does rhetoric mean? What's the meaning of rhetoric?
Rhetoric is what we get taught, what we read, what we get told, and how people use words to rhetoric. You know, rhetoric. It's speaking. It's what we get taught.
I was led by the Spirit. I didn't tell you I was being taught. I told you my experience growing up, seeing what my family was doing. The Spirit is what led me to do more research.
I appreciate that, but we have to circle back to what you said at the beginning of the conversation, where you said you grew up Christian, and you said, quote, your entire family and everybody around you grew up Christian. So that in itself would have had a direct influence on how you perceived yourself spiritually. Now,
remember, Christian is not Christianity.
No, but your family was Christians. So even if they're not, even if it's not Christianity as you're trying to define it, because there was enough people around you that followed a particular path
I didn't grow up with a lot of people around me per se. But
so what did you say? What did you mean when you said you grew up Christian?
Let me explain myself.
Yeah, sure.
For me, Christians follow Christ. Christianity is built up of lots of philosophies and excuses, and you don't have to follow the Bible to be in Christianity. You can just say, I'm a Christian. But when you're a true Christian, you're coming from the lineage of Christ. That's why you follow Christ regardless if Christ didn't exist or not. Christ is just the Lamb. Is the Word of God. Christ is the manifestation of the Word of God. Christianity is all the churches come together, all the denominations come together. That's why in the beginning I said it's like an umbrella system. Christianity is an umbrella system. You can have black, white, Chinese, yeah? You can have all of those people in Christianity. But as Christians, if we go back to the original term before it was called Christians, it would be Hebrew Israelites. That's why I want, if you go to Acts chapter 13, verse 1, and then we can continue because we're speaking scriptures. So we have to use Bible. You can't just.
So what I would like to do is this.
I still have questions to ask you, Don't think that I'm being dominated by the questions you're asking me because
no,
you said a lot. You've said a lot about what I think and my thoughts and what you see and what you've observed. Right. And I'm saying to you that when you say we, it's like you're putting us always in the same category. And I'm saying, if you want to learn about me, then speak about you and your tribulation so that I can land with my tribulation and how I get to something.
What I appreciate that, and I get what you're saying, but for me, what I'm trying to get to is just a little bit of coherency. When you said, because for me, I'm still on the path line of God's chosen race. And we've gone off on this.
We haven't gone off at all. I don't think.
No. I'm not saying we've gone off on a tangent. I'm saying that we're still on the line. It's just what I'm trying to find out is how you, Ignatius, came to the realization that A, you're not black. B, you are an original Israelite. C, your spirit led you to the true path of Christianity, which wasn't Christianity, because what did you say? Let me get this right. There is Christian and there's Christianity. So when you said at the beginning you grew up with a lot of people who were around you who were Christians, can we circle back to that? Because I'm trying to sort of put it all together to show you how things influence us. So when you said you grew up Christian, is it that these people were following the Christianity that you said is different to being a Christian, or you just called them, you just grew up Christian and everyone else was not Christian, but you grew up Christian, but they themselves were Christians, but not actually part of Christianity? Do you see what I'm saying? What were the people who were around you? Were they Christians or were they not?
I never go to church when I was growing up.
Right. Okay.
So my father was what you call a Ras.
He was a Rasta. Okay.
But he still followed Christ.
So was he Christian?
So he wouldn't have used the term Christian. He would have used the term Israelite because he kept his tradition. Christians do not keep their traditions. They go off and they go clubbing. They feel like everything is nice. Just say that Jesus saved me and I can repent. That's Christianity.
But do you see how it's hard to try and
for you, because you have to try and see where I'm coming from. As a slave, listen, this has nothing to do with slavery. This was our tradition before slavery.
And when you say our, who, because you said so many times in this conversation, there's a difference between you and me. And when I say we are not the same. So when you say our tradition, who's that? Is that including me?
When I said our, no, I don't know if it includes you because I haven't asked you anything yet. You've dominated the whole of this conversation. Since I'm gonna say why I think you've dominated it, because you've actually delved into who I am.
Yes.
But I didn't get a chance to delve into why you're on the fence, or what location in Africa you're from, but
so you would like some more information about myself.
But then I need to answer your question.
Okay,
you need to give me a chance.
Yeah, sure, please. I would love to.
When we say Christians, we're not talking about buildings, because that would only the buildings are just the infrastructures that people go into.
Mm-hmm.
But the true people that serve God wherever in the world they are Black people, regardless if they're in chains or if they're on the plantation. We would still be serving the God of this book. Now, when they put us into chains, we had this book before they put us into chains, but they stop us from speaking and communicating in our own language, so it's Hebrew. So to be colonized is to change your language. So our language was changed into English language. Does that make sense? So we are the only English-speaking people on the face of the earth because we were colonized by those that spoke English. The Bible was translated in Finnish translation in 1604, and it was authorized to be read in church in 1611. The first slave ship landed in Jamaica in 1619, and in America, the slave trade started just after this was ordained to read in church by King James. When they took this, when we went on the ships, we never had no books. We were naked, like Kunta Kinte, okay? We went on the slave ships naked from Scotland and Ireland, from Liverpool and Bristol. That's where we went on the slave ship. There is another kingdom that was in Ghana. It's called the Kingdom of Judah. That was on the slave on the Gold Coast, right? We were taken from there as well as Scotland and Ireland and Europe. We were being deported from everywhere, being taken onto one plantation, which is Jamaica. So we serve God. We don't need a building to serve God. We follow Christ. So we are followers of Christ. Whatever word the European white guys used to say Christians or Christianity, that has nothing to do with us. You understand?
I gotta admit, no. But what?
Who are you? All right, let me ask you now. Let me ask you.
Hold on. Before you ask me, you use. Sorry, let me close my window. There's a lot of noise. So, within that conversation, within that, what everything you just said, you said a number of times we were colonized here, we were sent this, we were the originals, we had this before. So again, I ask you, when you say we, just as I did before, and you checked me for that, I'd like to check you. When you say we, am I included in that we? Because you just said that
it depends if we share the same struggles and the same plantation, chains, shackles, having the Europeans beating us in Jamaica on the plantation. If we share that same struggle, then that's we.
But then, if when I said we, and I said Africans, you said no, we are not. You said quote, I don't identify as African, and I don't know anything about you. You might. That's what you said to me, and I'm like, well, when I say we, I'm talking about Black people in general. Whether
and I said to you that, and I said to you when you said that, I said I am not African, and I am not Black.
So let's go with that. So when you say we, how then are you now saying that the same we, when I said it, is different to the ones when you said, okay, you know, the ones in chains, the ones with shackles around our neck? Because when I say we, I'm talking about the people that were in chains and in shackles, and people who look like you, people who look like me. I know you said that you don't identify as Black and African, but for me, when I say we, I'm talking about, because I'm talking about Black people, the people I'm talking about people with melanated skin, and the history of the history of people with melanated skin. Now, I know you want to identify that yourself as specifically.
No. I want to get to a point. I want to get to a point before you start assuming, because you've made a few assumptions and not really correct. But Jamaica is an independent country. Let's come out the Bible a bit and just let's speak secularly now, yeah? So Jamaica is an independent country, right? Africa as well is a continent which consists of 53 different countries.
Right.
So Jamaica being an independent country, meaning that we are independent of everyone else in the whole world. And there's no country, listen, there's no country in Africa that can claim us Jamaicans as being from that particular area, region, or geographical location within the whole African continent. We Jamaicans are a unique people. That's why we don't sound like you guys. That's why even throughout our captivities, we still sound like Jamaicans and not like Ghanaians, or not like even as close as Trinidad and Cuba. We still have a different accent.
You do know that Jamaica was part of the Caribbean, and the Caribbean was a system of islands that basically took African slaves to those Caribbean islands and then settled there. You do know that, right? That's a historical fact, right? You do know that every single island in the Caribbean, they were taking the slaves that were taken there to settle.
No, when you say slaves were taken there to settle, this is where, no, I kind of get psychologically interested, because you identify people that were going to be enslaved as slaves.
Well, what I don't follow you. They had been captured. Hold on. They had been captured on the west coast, on Western Africa, when you get captured and you're put into shackles and chains, by definition, you are a slave.
You become slaves.
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is, within Africa, as I said to you, now it's countries. Now it's 53 different countries. And within those countries, there's over 200 tribes within those countries, right? Now, there's one specific tribe that was called Israelites. It's the same as someone would be from the Togo tribe or from the Oroma tribe or whatever. We are the Israelites that was being taken away. These things are documented.
Where is it documented?
If you read the book of From Africa to Timbuktu, from
Africa to Timbuktu.
You know what it says. From Babylon to Timbuktu. You know what the book is. Babylon to Timbuktu.
From Babylon to Timbuktu. Okay.
So that gives you a clear indication of who the Israelites are, and where they were taken to, and what ships and who were helping them, and what happened, and how the Muslim came into West Africa in the same time, you know. So there's a lot of historical facts.
It's interesting because I know a number of Israeli people who are Israelites, and I've never heard this. I have never, and again, it's like I said to you earlier on that it's been in the last 5 years that I've heard a lot of different communities within the Black community saying that they were the original A, the first B, the only C. It's only in the last 5, 6 years.
No problem. It's called awakening. It's called awakening. When you're coming out of slavery, it takes you the first generation you're going through slavery. The second generation you start to think, where did I wasn't born as a slave? Where did I come from? The third generation is the rebellion. The fourth generation is the awakening.
Okay, so
do you understand anything I just said to you?
No, because
exactly. You don't understand. I'm gonna say it again one more time so that it sinks in. 400 years ago, some people were taken into slavery. 400 years ago, right?
400.
The first generation, the first generation, they're going through captivity, real captivity. They're going through fighting, struggles. No, you're settled. The second generation, they're settled. 100 years, right? The third generation, they start to rebel again, rebellious. They start to fight. They start to wake up. But this time with weapons, burning down plantations. No, the fourth generation, which is us now. Now we're waking up, we're educating, we're living together amongst the colonizers, where we are here now, yeah?
So again, I just gotta ask. I get the generational thing, but when you say us, who are you talking about? Is that you or me or both?
All right,
hold on, guys. Hold on.
Yeah.
I think this is a good point in the conversation to actually define Israelite versus African.
That's what I was literally just about to
doing so.
I was literally gonna say to you, being that you identified yourself as an African, yeah?
Yes.
So Africa is the continent, right? So within this continent, there's countries. Within the countries, there are tribes. What tribe in Africa are you from?
Well, so this is where we gotta get specific. I am, and my history is Nigerian and Sierra Leone. But I was born in Nigeria, and my tribe is Yoruba.
What? We're Yoruba.
Yoruba. Now, so Yoruba, Nigerian in Africa. Now, we know Africa is a continent comprising of 50 plus countries. We know that. But when I say African, that has no less meaning than me saying I'm Nigerian, because Nigerian and African are one and the same. They're synonymous. You can't separate being, hold on, let me finish. You can't separate being African and Nigerian as two separate entities, because Nigeria fundamentally is in Africa. You can't separate Somalian from being African because Somalia is within Africa. So when you say there is a difference between the 53 countries that comprise of Africa versus the different countries.
How did they derive by the name Yoruba?
How did they get to the name Yoruba? I don't know.
That means you're failing at knowing who you are. So when I'm telling you about
okay, all right.
So when I'm telling you about my tribe, you need to listen and stop acting as if you know my tribes, because I'm asking you now about Yoruba and you can't tell me.
All right. Well, first of all, Yoruba. Okay, because I can't tell you where it came from doesn't mean that I don't know about my tribe.
Hold on,
Ignatius. Let me. What you tend to do.
I've always been the one to always recede and let you.
No. Hold on.
I noticed that when it's time for you,
Ignatius, please let me check you, because here's what you've done. I have asked you a very simple question. You have gone left, right, up, down, round the houses. Every time I'm trying to get to a cohesive coherence, you come out with some kind of example of something. I have not made any assumptions or presumptions about who you are. I'm just trying to get to why you think certain things, because I'm looking at certain things as psychologically. Hold on, let me finish. You've asked me a question about my heritage. You've just said to me, quote, you've said that you are not Black, you don't identify as African. I've said to you that I do. When I've said to you, okay, you know what? We as Black people, you say you don't identify as that. Okay, fine. Well, you say we, and I say, what do you mean? Because when I use it, you checked me. So now I'm asking you, you said, oh, what about Africa? And I said, look, well, I'm Nigerian and I'm Yoruba. Then you said, what does that mean? I said, I don't know. And that's me being intellectually honest, but that doesn't mean that I don't know about anything about my tribe, because I can tell you now, I know that there's more than 152 tribes within Nigeria. You said there's a thousand. What did you say? You said there's 1,000 tribes in Africa. It's more like 5,000 to 10,000 if you look at all the different tribes within all the different countries. So if I was to pull you up and down, I'd be like, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. You said there's 1,000. You said there's 1,000.
This was written about only one tribe.
That book was written by a group of men that made a bunch of rules. Okay, let me ask you this. In the Bible, let me ask you this.
No,
In the Bible.
If you don't like the way the conversation is going, you can speak to Esoteric and then.
No. It's not that I don't like the way the conversation is going. It's not that. Look, Ignatius. I'm trying to respect you as much as possible.
Ignatius, I realize that.
I'm trying to respect you as much as possible.
Hold on.
I'm trying to respect you as much as possible, but I don't think.
Let me jump in here, guys.
Yeah.
So, Prince, going back to the questions that you're trying to ask Daniel. So we clarified, or we touched on the difference between an Israelite and an African.
Yes.
Are you both happy that? Are you not in agreement, but are you both happy that that point has been addressed?
According to what I've learned and I've studied, there's two tribes in Nigeria that came from Israelites. We're the same people, and those two tribes are Yoruba, and there's another tribe that's called Igbo. So these two tribes are known in Israelites as oral tradition within our community in Jamaica. And we know that the people in Ghana, which is the Ashanti tribe, we know them to be same people as us. So people from Nigeria can identify when their people also were taken away on slave ships. There's still historical songs being sung in Nigeria and Ghana about people being taken on the slave ships, right? So when you said we, if you identify us as the ones that were taken over as your people, then I would say, but you're not the same people as the tribes in in Sudan, you're not the same. You're not the same people as you're not the same as every tribe in Africa, because tribes are not country.
Let me ask a question. Let me ask a question here to help clarify the distinction between the Israelites and the Africans. Would DNA be a marker as a way to differentiate? So, if an Israelite and an African done a DNA test, would that differentiate?
No, there's difference. There's difference in body features. There's difference in blood. There's difference in the skull, the way our skull shape. Like I can look at him and I can say he's an Israelite because of our skin texture, of our body, the way our body is made up. Like my skull and your skull would go in the same heap of skulls, yeah? Because they would identify us as the same people, same tribe. But if you go to some Zimbabwe or some people that grow really, really tall and skinny and have different facial features, then they would identify them by that tribe. But Yoruba people, Yoruba is coming from Igbo, which is still Hebrew. It's Hebrew, Yoruba, and Igbo people are still Hebrew people. But because we're scattered all over the world, we have to come together and identify ourselves by the curses that's put upon us and the tribulations that we went through. So if you identify your people as having gone through certain tribulations over centuries, over and over and over and over, and then this story is being written in a book over and over and over and over of these same people being taken by the European and the Islamic people and stuff like that, then when you end up at the end, in the end days, as seeing that you're from these people that's gone into change, we're an example to those that were not taken from Africa. You understand? So because we were taken, the onus is on us to defend who we are. The onus is not on you because you were not taken. We were taken. So we are in the land of our captivity. You bought a ticket and you come here. We didn't come here freely. We were taken here. So we have nowhere else to go.
Who bought a ticket? Who came here? Well, what again?
Okay, so you bought a ticket to come here.
I bought a ticket. Why do you say that?
Because if you didn't buy it, that means your dad bought it.
Again, why did you say that?
You identified yourself as from the Yoruba tribe.
I am from a Yoruba tribe. Yes.
Exactly. Was your dad born in Africa? Were you born in Africa?
I was born in Africa, yes.
How did you get here?
I was brought over here.
So you was brought over here and freely. You was taken here by someone's conscience saying that I'm gonna take him there or I'm gonna bring him to Britain.
Yes.
We were taken here in chains. That's why we identify.
So
there's a difference. Hang on.
Okay. Yeah.
Hang on. So we've been here over 400 years. So there is nowhere else for us to go after that 400 years. But because I identify myself as those that were taken from somewhere, and that this history was being written while we were being taken.
So let me just circle back. It's everything you just said is fascinating. So you were born in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so then, just like me, you weren't born here.
Yes.
How did you get to the UK?
So I bought a ticket to come here.
But you just said you were enslaved. You just said
that's what I'm trying to get to.
So then what is the difference between your story and my story where you defined us as different because I bought a ticket and I asked you who told you that?
You asked me a question, bro, and I'm gonna answer your question. I know what I said, and you asked me a question. Give me the chance.
By all means, please go.
I don't feel like I need to defend the fact that you asked me a question. I deserve to answer your question.
Please, by all means, please.
We bought our ticket to come here, but we are already British. We the Jamaicans we were born British. We were British before even the passport came in, even before planes. So we are the original British people. That name, hold on, bro.
Yeah.
I told you that we were taken from Scotland. We were taken from Ireland. We were not taken from Africa. So we are a different group of people that was living in Scotland, in Ireland, and Yorkshire, and Canterbury. That is my ancestor. So when I buy my ticket to come back here, it's because of social, it's because of the plane and that you have to buy a ticket. But we are originally from here, not from Africa.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say to you, Ignatius. First of all, there's a number of things that first of all, when we look at things like DNA, when we look at DNA.
We're talking Israelites. We're talking biblical,
Well, I just want to just cover a number of things.
We haven't read one verse from being an Israelite. Everything about being an Israelite is in here.
But okay, can I just say that it is your volition, right, that you subscribe to the Bible. I don't. I said
I did not subscribe. I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable.
May I talk? I allowed you to talk. I would like to also speak and make
don't say stuff, because this is my heritage. So you can't.
Okay. Ignatius, I would like to say, if you would allow me, that your belief in the Bible is fine. I would like to say to you that I don't follow that path. Now,
speak on the path that you. This is how we learn.
Can I?
I'm going to let you finish. But sure. You're going to let me finish as well.
Go.
This is how we learn.
I really want to get back to the focus of
I would love to get back.
So let me kick off by asking a question here.
Yeah.
Because we discussed on the differences between an African and an Israelite. Mm-hmm. So if we concentrate on this, the concept of the biblical chosen people, can non-Israelite people be saved? So can Africans be saved?
Ask. What can a non-Israelite person be saved, Dan?
Yes.
I'm asking Dan, because Dan seems to know a lot.
Me knowing a lot doesn't mean that I know everything.
So. I mean, you should be able to answer that, because you've answered everything so far. You even ask yourself questions and answer it.
Okay. Well, I feel your. Let me just say this. I feel your discomfort.
I don't really smile a lot, I don't know if it's because we've been having a nice dialogue so far. You're smiling, you're telling me about how intelligent you are and how you self-taught you are. That's just pride. That has nothing to do with knowledge.
Okay, you've asked me a question and you seem to keep circling back to your perception of me. And remember, I said to you, I've done psychology, so you keep coming back to what you think I am and what you think I'm doing and all this kind of stuff. I would like to go with what Esoteric Thoughts has said. Let's try and stay on topic, because right now you're giving me a lot of, Daniel, you're this, and Daniel, you're that. I haven't said anything like that to you, but I appreciate you feel the need to say that to me.
I said what I have to say, and we can move.
All right, so let's look at so let's look at the question. Do we think non-Israelites can be saved? I don't know what the answer is to that question, because, to be honest, I don't really subscribe to the whole thing of who can be saved or who can't, because when we look at certain things in life, there's a number of things that happen to people that I kind of go, okay, look, I know that's unfair. That isn't real. That shouldn't have happened. That person is a good human being. Why did that go that way? So for me personally, I don't know if I necessarily subscribe to the idea of who gets saved and who doesn't. It doesn't really, because I came from a particularly religious background myself. I think I said it before. But as I've grown older and I've read the book twice, the Bible twice, I started reading the Quran, but I didn't really finish it.
I thought you was a cool guy.
And wow, another attack, bro. Wow.
So you read the Bible twice. So you read the Bible twice. Doesn't matter if you say it's attack. So you read the Bible twice. So I put twice. I said you read the Bible twice.
Yeah.
Read Bible twice. I put that. And you make that known a few times in the conversation.
Because in reference to, can an Israelite, non-Israelite be saved? And I'm like, well, from what my experience is, I don't know what that really means. And to be honest, I'm not subscribing to who can be saved or who can't be. I can only look at a person and say, well, is this a person that I would like to engage with? Are they, by definition, a good human being? Can they behave in a way that allows me to relate to them and all that kind of stuff? I don't know what's going to happen when people die. I have no claim. I'm being intellectually honest. Whenever somebody says to me, I know what's going to happen when we die, I kind of go, sure, okay, fine. But when I'm here on earth, I go, okay, how do I see people? How do they comport themselves? What do they do? What do they say? So
can I say something?
Yeah,
your
yeah.
points are long. Your points are very long, I must say. So for you to be saved, what is the meaning of when because you obviously struggling to answer the question, but what I want to ask you is, what is your interpretation of being saved? What when being saved come to your mind? It says, can a non-Israelite be saved? What is saved? Saved from what?
I believe eternal damnation. Is that not the correct definition?
Damnation.
The eternal being saved, from what I understand, the way I was growing up Christian and all the Bible stuff that I read, being saved is tantamount to being saved from damnation. Is that not correct? Eternal damnation.
Well, I don't believe that's what save is.
What do you believe saved is?
So save is being lost and not knowing who you are because of captivity and because of slavery. No, someone is going to come and show you who you are and save you from ignorance, from being lost, and say we don't know who we are. I know recently we've been saying we're the 12 tribes of Israel that would the Bible speak of. So because we were lost, no, we need someone to save us. That's why we know that Christ is going to come to save us, not to save you or the Indian man or the Chinese or the white man. That they're happy. They don't need saving. Saved from what? We're getting saved through this, by returning to our own heritage. This is salvation. By remembrance, because we were taken into chains. So this is what unbreaks the chain. That's why I keep telling you, as an Israelite, you cannot go anywhere without this, because this is who we are inside of here. We're the living people of what is written inside of here. It didn't say African at all. It didn't say Muslims. It didn't say Ghana. It says Israelites. Christ is a Jew from Judah. So you cannot be saved.
Okay, so you said that we are part. So is that you, or is that we including me?
Not including you.
Okay. So you can be saved because you are the original people within that book.
That's what I'm saying.
So what I would ask is, how is it that book? No, most West Africans didn't know that book existed until slavery.
Exactly, because we were European. We've been in Europe for over 2,500 years.
We had been in Europe
Yes.
Absolutely. We were scattered around the world. And again, you, not we, me. But and again, this is very.
I can accept that you are part of our tribe, but can you accept that you're part of our tribe?
You just said that I'm not, because I can't be saved.
Because you're Yoruba, and because I know the Yoruba people to be similar people to our people, because there's a lot of original Jews people in Nigeria, and majority of people in Nigeria are Christians unless they're converted to Muslims. So I identify by looking at you. I cannot tell you, I can't go to someone and says you're an Israelite, but I can look at you and know that you're a part of my people. But you were not taken away on slave ships, so you would need saving.
But neither were you.
Well, my people grew up on the plantations. I live where my
so did mine.
But where in Yoruba?
No. So you missed it when I said, this is why it's important to really try and stay on track. When I said to you that my family is Yoruba and Sierra Leone, you missed out the Sierra Leone, and you asked me.
No, I didn't miss it. I didn't miss it.
Well, all right, let me correct myself. You focused on the Yoruba. I am a direct descendant of slaves. Yeah, a direct descendant. Now,
but we
hold on. Let me finish. I am a direct, and I know that my 4 times removed great grandfather was a slave on my mother's side. So when you say
slaves,
what?
Were they slaves?
Say that again.
Where were they? Where
were what?
Where were your Sierra Leonean people slaves? On the same land?
On the same land. What do you mean? What are you talking about? What are you saying?
Were they slaves in Africa? Were they being held slaves in Africa?
No, there were slaves from outside Africa. My family, they went to Wales, I think it was, and that's why my name.
This is exactly why this conversation is important, and that's why we need to speak to each other and not. Let me finish. Because we were scattered all over. Some people were being taken from Africa back to the Caribbean, and from the Caribbean back to it depends on how they want to scatter us. That has nothing to do with us.
Okay, hold on. You still, I got to hold your feet to the fire. You said that you focused on Yoruba. You said that
I'm having this conversation with the wrong person, because listen, we have been through the same struggle. We have been through the same struggle, and because I know you keep shaking your head every time I speak, you give but I'm saying me and you, we're from the same struggle. We went through the same slave trade. It doesn't matter where you are as an Israelite, they'll find you.
Can I just say something? You in the space of 3 paragraphs, you just said you and I are not the same. I'm not.
We're trying to get.
Hold on. Let me just show you.
Esoteric. I want to explain to you why I said what we're not the same, and I want to tell you why I ended up saying that we are the same. You need to listen. If you don't listen, you won't know. And I cannot explain myself if you don't
I've listened and I still don't know, bro.
I'm saying, when you were saying we, it's not that we were not the same. I didn't want you to identify us as the same until we've confirmed.
But you're only now saying this because you've made
because I didn't know anything about you, and you're saying we.
Okay, can I just
listen?
Yeah, please go.
I was saying that please do not say we until we identified who we are. You took offense to that. But I wasn't saying it to you in an offensive way. I'm just saying I cannot just identify you on the internet and just start saying, "Oh yeah, we," because we're black.
Okay. Ignatius, you made a lot of assumptions, and I need to check you.